to discover the West, but to make a record of the coal deposits. And in fact, Captain Lewis said, oh my God, in southern Illinois, these are some of the richest coal we found. And of course, it was African slaves who were loading those barges. Then it was the Shawnee Indians who were living there. And Jefferson, unfortunately, and Jefferson's one of my great heroes, of course, began this horrible policy that eventually resulted into the Indian Removal Act with Andrew Jackson to literally remove the natives in order to get the great resources of salt and coal.
Jeff, I wanted to ask you about the ongoing resistance, mountaintop removal in West Virginia. Last month, activists took part in a tree sit and stopped Massey Energy from mining on Coal River Mountain. We spoke to one of the tree sitters, Eric Blevin, on Democracy Now!
Well, right now I am sitting on a platform that is hanging in a tree, attached to the tree, probably about 60 or 70 feet in the air, I'm not sure exactly. 50 yards away or so, there's a bunch of holes where Massey Energy has been drilling to put explosives so they can blow up Coal River Mountain, the last mountain in the Coal River Valley area of West Virginia that has not been destroyed by mountaintop removal. And they actually just started blasting on the mountain within the past year.
Can you comment on what they're doing in West Virginia and Massey Energy?
You know, the folks in the coal fields are literally fed up. And so now we have this incredible national movement that's been going on that draws on a long-time movement, of course. We've been trying to stop strip mining for decades. And they believe that we have to go to the extent of civil disobedience literally to stop the mountaintop removal, the explosions and detonation near one of the largest coal slurry impoundments in the hemisphere. That this is symbolic, Amy, of what's happening. We have an administration, the Obama administration, like we've had for 200 years, who feels like they can regulate and outlaw industry. And instead of abolishing mountaintop removal, which only supplies 7 to 8% of our national coal production, we literally don't need it. We've had stockpiles of coal for the first time in 25 years in the summer. We're going through with one of the most reckless, egregious human rights and environmental violations in our country. And to me, it's symbolic of what happened in Eagle Creek, that the commerce and the profits of outside companies have always been weighed before the common good of the people and the protection of the land.
Jeff, tonight you're going to be speaking, if people make it out and carve themselves out of the snow, at the Harlem Art Salon over 1925 7th Avenue between 116th and 117th, about the coal roots of Black History Month. In these last minutes we have together, talk about what you'll be saying on these last days of Black History Month, the significance of coal.
Certainly. You know, I didn't just write a book about the dark legacy of the coal industry. I also wrote a book about this incredible legacy of resilience and resistance that my people have stood up against the coal companies for 200 years, that the abuse of the land has always gone hand in hand with the abuse of the people. And my grandfather, as a coal miner, always reminded me that the United Mine Workers that he was part of was always integrated from day one. My grandfather was very proud of the fact that white and black miners worked together. And he reminded me that, of course, Black History Month was founded by Carter Woodson, the great historian from Howard University, who had worked as a coal miner in West Virginia. And there he heard these incredible stories of African-American miners. And then he went on to study, of course, at Harvard, and he wrote his dissertation on African slavery in Appalachia. But he wanted to have a Negro History Week, which he created for the Journal of Negro History, which, of course, evolved into Black History Month. And it's that resiliency, Amy, that I want to talk about, that my backwoods people were not only part of the anti-slavery movement to stop slavery, but also to stop the machinations of the coal industry. You know, just as my grandfather fought to, with his black lung to have better benefits as coal miners, we're trying to fight and preserve our culture and our contributions. And so Black History Month, as part of its coal roots, to me is really one of the great stories of what has come out and emerged from this tension in the coal fields.
And the slaves that were sent into the mines, talk about that.
You know, it was a horrific policy. One of the great philosophers from France came to visit Thomas Jefferson, and he couldn't believe it. He said, Thomas Jefferson, you have these slaves with harnesses around your neck and harnesses around their waist, and they were being used as human bulldozers to move almost 30 feet of overburden, that they would go into these deep pits like the Dover pits in Virginia and die like flies. We lost so many people. It was untold numbers. And then finally, when we liberated Richmond and Virginia and parts of West Virginia during the Civil War, thousands of African and African-American coal miners climbed out of these mines and ran away and never came back. Unfortunately, those same abuses, the same sort of homicidal negligence in the coal industry continued with my grandfather, and that's why we had this very fervent union movement today.
I want to thank you, Jeff, for coming in on this snowy day, but most importantly for writing Reckoning at Eagle Creek and continuing to alert us about what's happening in coal country. Jeff Bigger's book is Reckoning at Eagle Creek, The Secret Legacy of Coal in the Heartland, and we'll post on our website again where the Harlem Arts Salon is, where he'll be speaking tonight at 7. Democracy Now! Is produced by Mike Burke, Shrifo Dokadus, Aaron Mata, Angelique Kamet, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Masood, and Robbie Karen, Mike DeFilippo, Peter Curries, and Miguel Noguera, our engineer. Special thanks to Becca Staley, Julie Crosby, Nick Gilla, Hugh Grant, Samantha Chamblay, Jessel Noor, Vesta Godars. Again, that website is democracynow.org. You can also follow us on Twitter. Tune in to C-SPAN tomorrow for our tribute to Howard Zinn. Check our website. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.